All right, nesting. Don't know where this came from, but let's do it. All right, let's take a look at a simple data structure. This is an array, and it has people in it. They are just strings of names. All right, so how can we access each value in the array? People at 0 would be Matt, people at 1 would be Sarah, people at 2 would be Kiana. Give me 1 second, please. Cool. What if we change the values in people? So let's space them out, bring them out like that. And now let's say that Matt is no longer a string, but now it's an object. And it has a key of name, and it has a value of Matt as a string. And we'll do the same for Sarah. We'll do the same for Kiana. Same question as earlier. How do we access each value in the array? This is super important to know. I've given like 4 or 5 different mock interviews, or not just mock interviews, but real interviews as well. And this is something that's pretty common. You have an array with objects in it, and you need to be able to access the keys or the values or both. Make sure that you know how to do that. It's good to know. Or at least know how to figure it out, maybe with like console logs or something. So if we had people at 0, it would give us back an object of name and Matt. If we had people 1, it would do the same with Sarah, and people 2, do the same with Kiana. We can now access nested data structures, which is basically like either an array and an array, or objects in an array. And it doesn't really go into detail as to how to access those values. But you can, and you should go play around with it and see if you can figure it out. Let's see what's in second set of slides, because maybe it's in there. Cool, nesting. Great. So yeah, now that we've accessed each element of the array, what can we do with it? We can start with sorting each of these elements into variables. Doing so allows us to access these elements in a quicker, more efficient manner. Right, so if we had var first is now equal to people at index of 0, which is still Matt, and we do second, and we do third. Now, anytime we want to access the first element of the array, you can just type out first, and it'll go to the people array, and it'll go to that object, and it'll give back name and Matt. Just like that. But note here, the first element of the array is an object. How do I retrieve only the string Matt? So this would be just getting the value. This is important to know. We can do it in one of 2 ways. Let's start with going through the people array on the left. So if we had people at 0, we get this object named Matt. All right, and then we can access the name property of the object. So here, again, we have people. This is the name of the array. At index of 0, this would be an object of name Matt as the key value. If we did dot name here, it's going to look up name, and it's going to give back Matt. Notice you couldn't, like if you had a loop, if you had a for in loop and it was like for key in obj or whatever, right? Like you couldn't just say dot name unless name is what it is. So you couldn't just say like dot key unless you wanted it to return like all the keys. So like maybe this would be a name. Maybe below that, it would have like a last name or something like that. And maybe you only wanted first names. So if you just used key, if you were using a for in loop, it's going to log them all. So keep that in mind. Dot name is very specific. It's going to say, let me go look for a key called name. You could have also accessed it like this, because again, dot is the exact same thing as if you remove the dot and put brackets with quotations. And now you know how to access Matt. Similarly, we have first, which was set to people at index of 0, which produces the same thing as it did before. If we did first dot name, it would give back Matt. So it's the same thing. People at 0, that's what we assigned first to. They both point to the same thing in this array. So if we just did dot name, it'll give back Matt. And of course, same thing with bracket notation. Similarly to accessing values inside nested structures, we can also add values. Yes. So how could we add an age property? Let's say people1, we're going to say second dot age. So this doesn't exist yet, right? Like dot age isn't a thing, but we're going to create it. So we're going to say people at 1 dot age is equal to 23. What that does here is it goes to people at 1. So here's this people array, goes to the second index, which is 1. It's going to go name, Sarah, comma. Now it's going to throw in this age key and give it a value of 23. We can do that just like this. Same thing here, second dot age is equal to 23. Note that the object inside the array changed after we added another property to it, exactly what we wanted it to do. Yep, that's it. Yeah, so nesting is basically just data structures inside of data structures. Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah, what do you got?
If we change the second variable, that's not actually changing the people array though, is it?
It is, yeah, because it points to it. So like var first is equal to people at 0. Like people at 0 is people at 0. It's going to be the same as this. So like first, you can imagine first is actually pointing to that array and pointing to that index of 0. Something that like wouldn't be the same is if you had var people is equal to this array with name Matt, name Sarah, age 23, blah, 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 blah. And then you had an exact copy of this, but you called it like var people 1, then those would be two completely different arrays. Completely different. So if you made one, like if you said var first points to people 1, like a different array, then yeah, it wouldn't affect this one. But in this particular way, it absolutely affects it. So like we could say people at 1 dot age is equal to 23, and then over here we could say second dot age is equal to 24, and it would absolutely go over here and change this. And if you just like if you didn't use this equal sign and you just said people at 1 dot age and you hit return, it would come back with what you changed it to, which was 24. Cool. B's and P's on all of that.
I think Alex had a question about before all the B's.
What about people at 0 key? Okay, so it would look up. Yeah, let's go back. People at 0, and then key, did you have quotes? You did not have quotes. Okay, so keep in mind that that would only work with a for in loop because you say var key in people, right? So like it actually looks, you're creating a variable in your loop itself. Like, yeah, exactly. Just like that. So like you have for var key in people, that key, that's creating a variable. And what it's doing is it's creating a variable for each key. So, you know, maybe you only wanted to change names and nothing else. You could say if key is equal to the string name, then we can do whatever we want to it. So like keep in mind, like when you're looping through objects, you are going to need to identify certain keys and like ignore other ones, or like modify certain keys and not modify other ones. And that means that you might need to do some if statements to see like what key are we actually dealing with here? Because if you had an object with like a whole bunch of different keys in it, and you did a loop of 4 var key and people, and then you just console logged key, and it would like loop through them all, and you would be like, oh wow, look at all these different keys. And so it's like you would want to pinpoint one exactly. Cool. If you guys have any more questions, so what do you think, Keely? They should go off and do these exercises for the next 30 minutes? Keely, please help. Keely gone. Keely's video is gone. Jeez. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna go break off into your pairs, do these exercises, and then I will probably Slack out a message as to what to do from there. Go, be great. New pairs. The pairs that you currently have are based on the surveys that you guys submitted to us. They are to help you learn the best that you can. If you don't like your pair, it's kind of one of these things where it's like tough luck. When you get into the immersive program, I guarantee you are going to pair with someone who is going to drive you insane. Don't worry about it. That's part of the process. It's all about like how you handle yourself in that situation. Try to be the best pair that you can be. And again, if somebody starts trying to drive and navigate at the same time and you're getting left behind, like slam on the brakes. Be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are we doing this? What is this? I don't know. Why are we doing that? Maybe even ask like, hold on, let's backstep. Like you're going to drive now. They're going to navigate. Don't let them type something unless you say it, and like walk through each thing. Because if you guys aren't on the same page, one of you is going to get left behind, and it's not fair. So don't let that happen. And you have to be like, even if you're like a little mousy, a little shy, whatever, like you need to speak up. Like this is for your education. So yeah. If pair is absent today, that's a tough one. Let me see. I only have like 3,000 tabs open. No big deal. All right, RP51. Well, it looks to me like there is an available partner. So for now, what we're going to do is I'm just going to like put this person off to the side, and they're still technically your pair. So like in the future, you'll do that. But for now, we're going to pair you two up.
Well, I'm not paired with anyone, so maybe I can pair with Alex.
You are also not paired with anyone.
Yeah, I think this is a new cheer. I think I just didn't bold my name.
Oops.
And this is my fault why I'm not paired with anyone. Just
all right. Hold on.